There has been a lot on my mind in the last few days. Far from being able to take things quietly, the world has been impinging on my intentions of seeking solitude with a vengeance. First and certainly not least, the events in the Ukraine with Poroshenko, which I believe Porosha translates into something like a pail of shit. Poroshenko has not wasted a single moment in unleashing military might against the citizens of Novorossiya. Isn't it a crime to target the civilian population? Yet not a word from the Western press who've yet to as much as acknowledge what is going on. They continue to parrot the White House and the newly elected dictator. Meanwhile, and this is the most depressing, most commentators, or at least one who has had a change of heart on this, I know, has come to the conclusion that Putin and the Kremlin are dithering and do not look as though they are going to intervene on behalf of the population of eastern Ukraine. So between a fascist junta, which is moving in with overwhelming force, and a Kremlin that looks unwilling to act on behalf of the citizens of Ukraine, it doesn't look good for the self-defense forces or the population of eastern Ukraine. At the moment, it looks like yet another victory for empire. Russia is rolling over and the Ukraine is being sacrificed. Let's hope I'm proved wrong. And meanwhile, even Europe is acting against its own economic self-interest with an energy crisis looming, caving into the geopolitical interests of America and refusing Russian supplied gas. Insane. It has, I must admit, been the most depressing of days yesterday, and was the cause of another sleepless night. In addition, I've got a few of my own personal things happening. I've been fighting with the corporate behemoth Vodophone, and after spending most of yesterday changing over to my new provider, found that we are still registered, still paying our bills to Vodophone. So yesterday, after waiting for ages to get through to Vodophone, finally getting through, I was quizzed as to why I wanted to close my account. And when I said it wasn't really their business, they told me to hang on, and they kept me waiting endlessly. My partner rang them, and then they said, oh yes, it's possible to close the account, but only if the new provider confirms that we've changed over to them with a phone call. So when I rang the new provider, they were suitably mystified by this, and it still has to be resolved. So at the moment, it looks as though we're caught in a Kafkaesque situation where we have shifted to a new provider while still being billed by our old one for a service that we're not using. I finally sorted out my email, so I would like to put out my plea from last week once more. If you're willing and able to help me in any way, large or small, financially, this can be done through PayPal with my email, which is seymourrocks97@gmail.com. I'll repeat that, seymourrocks97@gmail.com. I think I've done everything my end to facilitate this, but one, of course, can never be quite sure. Finally, a word about the weather. down under. I'm told by my partner who's down in the South Island that there's practically no snow on the Southern Alps, and it's this snow that feeds the rivers of Canterbury. So that's not a good sign. Apart from a few days last week that started to resemble winter, the weather has been wet and much warmer than usual. At the moment, there are floods in Canterbury, in the town of Rangiora, where, to my memory, in my 58 years on this planet, there have not been floods, or at least not like these ones. So, once again, I appreciate your support, and in the meantime, I'll keep battling on, fighting for the truth as I perceive it. Thank you.